On November 9th, 1906, Gordan Stewart Northcott was born to Sarah and Cyrus Northcott. In his early childhood, he lived in Bladworth, Saskatchewan, Canada. Northcott claimed that when he was 10 years old, his father sexually abused him. His family denied these claims, but to this day, we still don't know if this is true. When Northcott was 18, he and his family moved to Los Angeles, California. While there, he asked his father to help him build a chicken farm, so Northcott, his father, and his nephew Sanford Clark helped him build the chicken farm in Wineville, California over the summer. Eventually the summer ended and Sanford was supposed to go back to Canada, but Northcott asked his sister, Winnie, who was Sanford's mom, if Sanford could stay and help him on the farm. Winnie thought this was a great idea, and Sanford went back to the farm with Northcott. But while living there, Sanford would get beaten and forced to do other terrible things, and this is where Northcott became what he is known for today. Northcott's first victim was a decapitated Mexican boy whose body was found in the ditch, and to this day he has never been identified. However, later Northcott said the name Alan Botella, but still that is unconfirmed for the identity. After this, Northcott's next victim was Walter Collins, who disappeared on March 10th, 1928, after his mother gave him money to go to the movie theater. He was last seen around 5 p.m. according to a neighbor. The police were sent out to look for Walter, but couldn't find him for months. But 5 months after the report, they found a boy who claimed to be Walter Collins, all the way in Illinois, which is 2,080 miles away. Walter's mother, Christine, was so eager and happy to see her son again. But when this boy, who she had never met before, stepped off the train, Christine said, "That's not my son." Police Chief J.J. Jones, who helped with the case, said to try him out for a couple of weeks. After 3 weeks, Christine determined that the boy the police brought to her was not her son. Christine brought dental records to prove it, but Jones instead accused her of being a bad mother and bringing ridicule to the police. Jones had Christine thrown in the Los Angeles County Hospital under Code 12. We'll get back to Christine later in this case, but for now we'll move on to Northcott's next victims, Nelson and Louise Winslow, who were brothers. They went missing after going back home to Pomona on May 16, 1928. The Winslow brothers sent letters to their parents saying they went to Mexico to try to get famous. Their parents were suspicious of these letters because they knew their boys would not do this. The police still didn't connect the cases of Walter, the Mexican boy, and the Winslow brothers. But now let's return to Walter's case. Captain J.J. Jones questioned the boy who claimed to be Walter and admitted that his real name was Arthur Hutchins, who ran away from Iowa after his father abandoned him. The reason he said he was Walter is so he could meet his favorite Hollywood actor, Tom Mix. Eventually, 10 days later, Christine was released from the hospital. Christine sued the Los Angeles Police Department and won, but never got paid the $10,800 she was promised. In the summer of 1928, Sanford's sister, Jessie Clark, paid a visit to the ranch. While there, she witnessed Sanford being abused by Northcott. When she came back to Canada, she told her mother, Winnie, that Northcott was abusing Sanford. Winnie contacted the authorities in America, and she said Sanford was living in America illegally. On August 31st, 1928, Northcott saw the police coming towards the ranch and decided to flee the ranch. But before he left, he told Sanford that if he told the police about what he did, he would go into a tree and shoot him. When Sanford knew Northcott was gone, he told the police everything, and he was brought into custody. Sanford said him, Northcott, and Northcott's mother, Sarah Northcott, murdered young boys. Sanford was forced to participate by Northcott. Northcott and Sanford would drive around town looking for young boys to abduct. Northcott used Sanford to lure them into the car. Once they would get back to the ranch, Northcott would sexually abuse them and then murder them with an axe or shoot them. And this is what happened to the Winslow brothers, Walter, and many other young boys. Sanford said Northcott and he would bury the victims on the property. The police brought him back to the ranch, and Sanford would dig and they would find some bones and belongings of the victims. The police also found the axe that Northcott used to murder his victims. On September 20th, 1928, Northcott and Sarah were arrested for the murders. Northcott confessed to just killing the Mexican boy, and Sarah, wanting to protect her son, admitted to killing Walter. However, during the trial, Northcott said that he never killed anyone but was found guilty of 3 murders. On February 13th, 1929, Northcott was found guilty and was sentenced to be hanged on October 2nd, 1930. Eventually that day would come. Northcott was executed at San Quentin State Prison. His last words were, "Don't. It took 13 minutes for Northcott to die from strangulation. Before Northcott's death, he wouldn't confess to Christine if he killed Walter or not, and Christine always believed her son was alive and kept on looking for him until she passed away on December 8th, 1964. Sanford was never tried for the murders, but went to Woodard State School for 23 months, and after that he went back to Canada to live out the rest of his life. Sanford died on June 20th, 1991. The ranch that these murders happened on still stands, and Wineville renamed their town to Mira Loma on November 1st, 1930 because of these murders. Northcott could have had way more victims, but unfortunately, we'll never know. He said at one point he could have had up to 20 victims.